The views on a Breath of Fresh Air podcast reflects the parties involved, and we encourage you all to use it as a conversational tool that will lead to personal studies of your own.
Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Welcome to a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz Gay. As a young person, Christianity can be so foggy, like smoke in the mirrors and so unclear. But we're here to bring you a breath of fresh air.
Nehemiah, you have heard all of Judah say, the strength of the laborers are falling, and there is so much rubbish that we are not able to build the wall. But also, we've heard from the adversaries that we will neither know or see anything until they come in the midst of us and kill us and cause our work to cease. And on top of that, and on top of all of this, I have been hearing from the Jews that are near to our adversaries, and this is the 10th time they have sent this message, that whatever place we turn, our adversaries will be upon us.
This is a pickle, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to position men behind the lower parts of the walls and at the openings. And we're going to set people up with swords and spears and bows according to their families. And also, we're going to have every builder girded with a sword at his side. And I'm also going to have someone with a trumpet beside me. And guess what? I'm going to tell this to you, but I'm also going to relay this message to the nobles and the rulers. Do not be afraid of them. Remember the Lord, great and awesome, and fight for your brethren, your sons, your daughters, your wives, and your houses. The work is great and extensive, and we are separated from each other while we're building this wall. But guess what? Whenever you hear the sound of the trumpet, rally to us where we are, and our God will fight for us. Step into Nehemiah 4, where walls rise against all odds. Join us as we unravel the gripping story of Nehemiah's leadership in the face of opposition. This is Nehemiah 4, where challenges become stepping stones to triumph. As always, be blessed and enjoy. All right, welcome back to another episode of a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts,
Nakhaz Gay.
and Earl Roberts. Hopefully everyone had a great week. This coming up, what, the first week of February? Yeah, it's be like February 2nd when this drops.
Nice.
So you would have already had your surgery, technically,
Yep.
by the time this drops. Hopefully everything went well.
Yeah, by the grace of God.
Oh my. How was your week?
My week wasn't bad. I just did my best to eat right. To eat right and to get in the gym as much as I can, because I don't know what exercise is going to be like post-op. And I know I'm going to have to go through a lot of rehab, but I imagine I'm not going to be as active as I want to be. So I just spent a lot of time just trying to get whatever progress I can get now, because if I say I backtrack like 3 steps, I want to make sure that I go forward at least 3 steps so that when I backtrack, I can net even, so that once I'm healthy or strong enough to work out my upper body, then I could just make progress for the rest of the year. And, I had a lot of stuff at work I needed to do and stuff around the house, because it dawned on me that I will not be that mobile for a while. And so, it's a latch on my gate, on my fence that I needed to fix. I just locked the fence so it don't bother me and it don't like swing open or anything like that. But I'm like, yeah, I gotta I gotta replace that latch. You know what I mean? Like, gotta clean my car, gotta do all these things because I'm not gonna be able to. I'm just gonna be pretty stationary
A while.
for some time. You know. So that's all I've been up to this week. What about you?
My week's been all right. It's actually been pretty good. Can't complain. Can't complain, man. Busy but good. God's working. So that's always great. It's always great. It's crazy. I was just telling someone this week, like, man, this is the fastest January that I've had in years. It's like
It's going fast.
time is moving, bro. Usually January's be like take forever to go, but like this January, we just like, yo, no, we don't. Bro, by the time it's coming, it's already February. Like this January was
That's crazy.
rolling, bro. I was shocked. I was like, "What you mean the month almost over?" I'm like, "You mean month of 1 of 12 already done?" Like I feel like it still should be Christmas. Like, what you mean? Like, what you mean, bro? Like, time is moving fast, man.
I think in general, when we were younger, time moved by slower. I used to think about like I would be like, let's say I'm 13. I would meet somebody that's 60, 70, and I'm like, bruh, I'm 13. I feel like I live a long life. You know what I mean? You do that, you are 13 multiple times. You feel me? And now that we older, I do see how like time moves. I feel time moves faster as you get older compared to when you were a child. You know, it seemed like we was in high school forever, bro. Like I remember graduating high school, like bro, like man, like I remember graduating grade school, 12 years. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, man, we was doing that forever. But then now I just celebrated 12 years. I've been out of high school for more than 12 years, is what I'm saying.
It's
You see what I'm
crazy,
saying?
right?
Like the second 12 seemed much shorter than the first 12 years of schooling, you know?
Yeah,
So
I also think because we just have so much more to do and take care of, bro. It's like back then, man, back then it wasn't much to worry about. You know
that's
what I'm
true.
saying? Like, thank God we had good parents. It was like, wasn't much to worry about. You know what I'm saying? But now it's like, okay, we got work, bills, buddy. If you ain't grocery shop and you ain't cook, you ain't eating. Back in the day, it was like, all right,
Straight
cool.
up.
Looking at your parents, like, hey, so what we eat tonight?
Right, right. I mean, what's
Bamboo,
going on,
pizza.
right? What we
No
doing?
one cook. So what we can do?
I don't exist here. What you mean? What you mean y'all ain't cook?
Now you like, boy, I ain't cook. Mother sick. What I can eat?
Bro, and that's my thing too, because like I've been so my spiritual um New Year's resolution, pray more,
Mm-hmm.
pray intensely, and don't skip out on it type situation. But my resolution at home is to cook things that I like, meaning like I like egg and cheese biscuits. So if I buy breakfast from a fast food spot,
Mm-hmm.
I am go. If you have an egg and cheese biscuit, I will buy it. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, like I'm not the biggest fan of McDonald's, but their breakfast I enjoy. I enjoy their egg and cheese biscuit. So 2 weeks ago, I baked biscuits. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? Egg and cheese is something that ain't hard,
Yeah.
but I baked the biscuit, so now I have my own homemade egg and cheese biscuit. I
Nice.
wanted a Cinnabon. No, actually, Yana wanted a Cinnabon. I bake a Cinnabon. You understand what I'm saying? I bake a loaf of bread. Like I bake pizza dough. Like I've been really baking because a lot of stuff we eat, like have some type of bread or something.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, I made the second week of the year. I made Chipotle style like food, bro. So like I season the chicken the way
Mm-hmm.
Chipotle does. I had it on the grill, all of these things. You understand what I'm saying? So like in in my resolution, I try my best to make everything I like. So by the time I ramp up to wanting like fast food type of burgers and stuff, that's like when I lose more like fat and I get more and I have to eat more to stay my muscle, then I'm gonna start eating certain things or whatever. But I say all that to say this: sometimes in the middle of the week, it's like you meal prep, right? You cook a lot of food, right? But if you don't eat it strictly the way you plan to, sometimes you may overeat before the week ends. So a lot of times on Fridays, I run out of food, but I only had the energy to cook on Sunday when I had a free day. So I cook for the whole week. I bake, I do all these things, right? Now Friday coming, it's like, bro, I could eat, I could, I could, I could cook for Sabbath, but I really hungry right now, bro. Like I don't have the like the patience to wait. You see what I'm saying? Because like the type of meals we have on Sabbath. I mean, some people do haystacks on Friday night, but in the Bahamas, like we tend to do like a bigger meal on for the Sabbath, and then also for Sunday dinner. Especially a lot of Sunday church people, they have big meals on Sunday or whatever. Some Fridays, bro, I don't have the patience for that. Like, so I'm more likely to go and eat fast. Like I have to break my New Year's resolution and now buy something. You see what I'm saying? To hold me over so that I can cook a big meal. You see what I'm saying for tonight and like for the Sabbath or whatever. So that's what it is, bro. Like as an adult, I know that was a long way to even say that, but as an adult, it's like the responsibilities on you, and then it's so many things that you have to juggle. In school, bro, we had a 9 to 3 every day. You see what I'm saying? 9 to 3, 9 to 4, etc. It was kind of perpetual. Like we at work, when you at work, you have that as well. You know what I'm saying? But when you outside of work, bro, anything can happen. I go on to play ball the other day. I leave with my knee in half. You understand what I said? Like anything can happen. You see what I'm saying? So yeah,
Man
I
just
see.
said his knee in half.
But my knee was insane, bro. And it made me so mad because the insurance was playing with me, bro. You remember the insurance was saying they don't know if it's medically necessary to get an MRI. And I had to tell the lady, they say, but my knee hanging off the bone right now. It wasn't literally I'm sorry for that gruesome image, but it wasn't really hanging. But I'm like, it wasn't all the way. It wasn't all the way. It wasn't whole. You know what I mean? So, but anyway. God is
Mercy.
good, bro. We make it. We already halfway through, more than halfway through the first month. And I have a feeling this year gonna fly by, bro. Like,
I already say from the beginning, I say, boy, this is going to be a very interesting year on many fronts. So, certain things already starting like that. So, yeah, man, this is going to be a very interesting year. Very interesting year. But through it all, God is still good. No matter what happens in the world, no matter what happens at home, God is still good. God is still good. All right. Should we go into Nehemiah?
Yep.
So this week we are in Nehemiah chapter 4. Last week's episode in Nehemiah 3, we saw that he made it to Jerusalem to rebuild the city walls, and he didn't really tell anyone what he was doing. And we saw he went over. Well, no, last week they
Last week they
said
was actually
they was
building.
billing. Boy, I tell you, that's how we do some of these episodes, eh? Last week they was billing, and we saw the community came together. It was community effort. The priests built, the perfumers, the stonemasons, the craftsmen. Everyone came out and built, except the noble people from what was
Start
that?
with a T.
Tekoa.
Tekoa.
Yeah, for some reason, the noblemen didn't want to participate in the wall building. But we see it was everyone came out and did their part. Some people couldn't offer much, but they repaired the wall that was near their house. So we see it was really good. So definitely check out last week's episode and let us know your thoughts and opinions on that. This week we are in Nehemiah 4. For some reason, the word Exodus came in my mind. I was like, I don't even know why.
Oh, yeah, I know.
All right. So, but it so happened when Sanballat, and if you remember Sanballat from Nehemiah chapter 2, he wasn't too happy when Nehemiah came to town. So when he heard that they were rebuilding the wall, he was furious and very indignant and mocked the Jews. And he spoke before his brethren and the army of Samaria and said, what are these feeble Jews doing? For they fortify themselves. Will they fortify themselves? Will they offer sacrifices? Will they complete it in a day? Will they revive the stones in heaps of rubbish, stones that are burned?
It's like, what's it to you though? Like for real, bro. Like I listening to this, right? And I don't understand. Like I know y'all are mortal enemies and y'all don't like the advancement of the Jews because they didn't allow y'all to worship with them. I don't know. I don't know where it fully stemmed from, but fuck them out is y'all are enemies, and it's gonna be like that even through the New Testament. You see these, they say this before the army of Samaria. That's what they say, right? But I'm like, you just standing there watching them build the wall and say, look at them, what they can do? They can build it. You know what I mean? Like, what it look like they about to do, bro? You know what I mean? Like, and then you say stuff to say like, oh, they can build it in a day. You know what I mean? Like, you really do not like these guys, and like you nitpick anything anytime they take a step forward.
And Sanballat was a Horonite. Horonite.
Okay.
Yeah, just from like chapter 2. So yeah, like so he was a hater, bro. I mean, that's what he was. He was a hater. Like, what's it to you, bud? Like,
that's all I wonder, bro.
Why are you so invested in this?
But you have a whole squad with you, like who down, bro? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
exactly. And now Tobiah the Ammonite was beside him, and he said, whatever they build, even if a fox goes up on it, he will break down their stone wall.
See, now they clowning on them. You know what I mean? Like, they say, but what they can do, they can build a wall, but whatever they build, whatever you call that, right? But if a fox jump on that, right? A little fox, it can break, it can crumble and fall.
That's just so wild.
Yeah, that's an odd flex, but I know.
Something about them foxes, man. Samson would have a thing to say about that. In verse 4, hear, O God, for we are despised. Turn their reproach on their own heads and give them as plunder to the land of captivity. Do not cover up their iniquity, and do not let their sin be blotted out from before you, for they have provoked you to anger before the builders.
Yeah, so that's a prayer
from Nehemiah.
Yeah, from Nehemiah, right? Because when I read that first, it was like, is this Sanballat praying now? Because I was like, well, that's pretty brazen. You know what I mean? Like, you like praying to God.
So you writing his own memoir. He could at least put like, so then I said.
Right. Because I even go on to the KJV to see if that was just a version difference, but no, it's the same way in the KJV. But yeah, he just pivot. Like, he just get to praying straight up.
Yeah. And again, it's interesting, right? Because like these people like mocking him, but Nehemiah about God's business right now. So you mocking these people building the wall that God made provisions for them to build to protect themselves from this city. So it's just interesting. Like, anyway, it's numbers. Go for it.
No. Another thing that's interesting to me is like, I don't know how to do this humbly, but people really used to be praying for their enemies' downfall. Now, the difference is when you justify it in praying, because what's this guy named? Sanballat could have prayed against the Israelites and he wouldn't have been justified because he just hating, right? We see where in the book of Numbers when what's your boy name on with the dark and donkey? It's escaping
Balaam.
me right now. Balaam, right? When Balaam prayed, he tried to pray against the Israelites. We see that was a fail. He tried to pray, and the only thing he could do is bless them. You see what I'm saying? But now we have Nehemiah who is actually praying for the right reason. He's praying, God, these people are hating and they wish to cause us harm and to stop us, right? Hear, O God, for we are despised. Turn their reproach on their heads, right? Okay, turn their reproach on their heads. I think that's fair, right? Based on my judgments. And it say, and give them as plunder to a land of captivity. You see what I'm saying? And I like, bro, like when you listen to this, and now when you read some Psalms, when you listen to
David say, "They break their teeth out their mouth, bro."
Straight up, bro. But David used to give it up, bro. David said, bro, make my enemies what he say? Like, I can't remember, bro. But anyway, bro, he's
next week say, let their dwellings be desolate or something too.
No, David used to go crazy. David used to go crazy, bro. But yeah, like, and so I wonder how to maneuver in this way, you know, sometimes I hear people's prayers. I see people's prayers in the Bible, and I try to see how best I can articulate certain thoughts and be righteous. You know what I mean? Like I'm not the guy to say, bro, you know, this person has despised my work, or like, let's say you and I with our podcast, let's say somebody really working to stop our podcast from happening. Like, I'm not the guy. I don't think I would naturally say, um, give them up, give them as plunder to the land of captivity, or the equivalent for today's generation of that phrase. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't say make them go to jail, or you know what I mean? Like, I know. And I don't know like in what context, like how do you go about that while being zealous and actually being like pure hearted? Mm.
It's interesting, right? Because like, if you know you're doing the work of the Lord, and I ain't talking about no questionable prophecy or something like that, right? Like, you know you on God's path, bro. And you know these people only come out against evil. I don't know.
You would say, Lord, let them go to jail, but jail them right now, Lord.
But which one sound worse?
I gotta stay on your good
let them
side,
go to
bro.
jail,
Hold
or
on, bro.
let them be blotted out from the book of the living, bro.
Hold on, let me get this joke off first, bro. I want to stay on your good side, bro. I'm gonna be your enemy, bro. If you become the king, I can be the biggest brown nose in town.
This guy.
Don't mind me.
This man literally say, let them, let them, do not let this sin be blotted out, bro. David say, let them be blotted out from the book of the living and not be written with righteousness.
Wait, but this ain't hate to you. Wait, I ain't trying to be funny, bro. But it's like, to me, it seemed like, all right, it's one thing you praying to God, Lord, you know what I'm saying? Turn their, what do you say? Turn their reproach on their heads, right? Cool. But you say, Lord, don't forgive them, bro. don't even forgive them for this, bro. I think that's hate. I think you hating on them on the low, bro.
Well,
You
you
sound like
might be.
Jonah. You sound like Jonah, bro.
It's up to God if they give. Hey, God don't
It's
have
up
to
to-
answer the prayer. You
Real
know,
talk, you
he
can
don't
say
have to
yeah
order
or
that
nay.
part of the prayer. He say, bring to him what's on your heart.
Real talk.
This
Make
on,
your request known to God. Like,
I mean, hey, he already know on our heart is evil.
no, but they pretty brazen. But I don't know, bro. Y'all might think that I being hard on Nehemiah, but I do think it's kind of wild to pray and say, God, do not let their sin be blotted out from before you. You see what I'm saying? Like, don't, God, like, I know it's a possibility you might just forgive them and blot them out, like how you say you do. Let this one slide, though. Don't blot this one out.
But that's the thing about the Bible, right? Sorry for the coughing. Same with the Bible, right? It's like, it still shows the humanity of these people, bro. Like, this was a man who wholeheartedly feel like he on God's business, and he knows people coming against him, and this was on his heart. Lord, I don't even want you to forgive them. But it's interesting too when we see the like how it should be, because what Jesus do on the cross, Father, forgive them because they know not what they do. And I'm like, bro, Jesus, I can't do that. But Jesus showing you Jesus showing you how it should be.
Yeah.
To your point, it's like, yeah, like these people actively killing me right now, but I still praying to God to forgive them because they don't even know what they're doing. They don't even know, like, they actually truly killing the Son of God. They don't even know they call it for my downfall. But we see David and Nehemiah when they was up against this persecution. But Lord, but I don't even want you to forgive them, but no, boy.
I want them done, bro. I want
So,
my enemies to be my footstool.
but at the same time, like that's a valid contrast right there. Like, I hope you even like shine a light on that because that's important.
One thing I would say to advocate on the other side is that Nehemiah may be convinced that the only way to stop these people is for God to cast judgment on them. Like to say, like, these people are so evil and they so fixated on stopping the work of you that the only way to stop them is to um have them get sold into slavery into captivity. You know what I mean? Like I know, I think I just think it, bro. He might know their character and say, bro, God, the only way to stop them, you can't forgive them. You gotta punish them. You see what I'm saying? Because they can just keep going, you know. But definitely a contrast between oh God, reacted to being persecuted. Oh, Jesus did.
But what I would say is he praying to God to let God deal with the situation how God sees fit.
Facts.
He ain't taking it into his own hands right now. He's saying, God, the only way to combat this is through you. So you do what you see fit. And if I had it my way, let you know what I would want to happen.
Real talk.
But you are the great and powerful God. You do as you see fit.
Yeah. And some people would have just gone to war. You know what I mean? Some people say the wrong thing. All right, no. We could fight about it.
Yeah. So verse 6. So we built the wall, and the entire wall was joined together up to half its height, for the people had a mind to work. Now what happened when Sanballat, Tobiah, the Arabs, the Ammonites.
I wonder if that's a new version of the King James. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wonder if we see like an 18th century edition of the King James version, if they would have that term Arabs. Because in the New Testament, they have the term Italian. You know what I mean? And I was just like, Italian? You know what I mean? I was like, what?
That's wild. Funny. The Arabs, the Ammonites, the Ashdodites heard that the walls of Jerusalem were being restored and the gaps were beginning to be closed. They became very angry. A lot of them conspired together to come and attack Jerusalem and create confusion. Nevertheless, we made our prayer to our God, and because of them, we set a watch against them day and night. So these people came together because they heard that the walls were being rebuilt. And they was like, well, we can't let this happen.
Not on
so
my
what
watch.
We can do, we are going to band together and try to come and attack them to not only create confusion, in my opinion, just to be disheartening.
Yeah, but you could see this pure hate though.
Yeah, they try to kill the morale, destroy the work. Really and truly, why does it offend you all so much?
I don't get it. It's like, like how they say, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer.
Mm.
I think because they're enemies, they sleep better knowing that they could just attack Jerusalem at any given time because they're not fortified. Now, if y'all get fortified, then y'all could be doing God knows what behind there. And this could be a threat to us even more. You see what I'm saying? But we can't have that. I got to keep you under surveillance and I got to keep you humble. So I see y'all building this wall. Not on my watch, bro. I would go to war, bro. I would kill people to stop you from building this wall. That's what I think their approach is. But I don't know. Like, I just can't rationalize it. Like some disputes you see in the Bible, it's like, okay, I understand that. Oh, I understand the concept of somebody wanting to conquer this region, so they go to war with everyone in this region. You know what I'm saying? And they take people into captivity. I understand that concept, but y'all just being angry with each other, and like you see them building their wall, and you're like, wait, no, y'all ain't building this wall. But these people are enemies. Like it ain't no. And some nations, they not allies, but they could barter with each other. Mm-hmm. We could come to some agreement. You understand? Like we're not enemies, we're not allies, we're not enemies type of situation.
They can be cordial.
These people's enemies.
Hands down.
Hands down.
Hands down. Oh my. And then we also see so Nehemiah, those heard of this, and they say, you know what? All we could do is pray. We could be smart. We could keep watch day and night. We know y'all conspiring, so we could trust God to protect us, but we could still keep our eye out just so we could know that way we don't be catch with our pants down.
But I want to have a conversation about self-defense, bro, a little later in this episode, this chapter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then Judah said, the strength of the laborers is failing, and there is so much rubbish that we are not able to rebuild the wall. And our adversary said, they will neither know nor see anything till we come into their midst and kill them and cause the work to cease. So it was, when the Jews who dwelt near them came, and they told us 10 times, from what place you turn, they will be upon us. From whatever place you turn, they will be upon us. Excuse me. Then in verse 13, therefore I positioned men behind the lower parts of the wall at the openings. And I set people according to their families with swords, their spears, and their bows. And I looked, and I arose and said to the nobles, to the leaders, to the rest of the people, do not be afraid of them. Remember the Lord, great and awesome, and fight for your brethren, your sons, your daughters, your wives, and your houses. Okay, big speech giver.
Yeah, dog.
And it happened when our enemies heard that it was known to us and that God had brought their plot to nothing, that all of us returned to the wall, everyone to his work. So it was from that time on that half of my servants worked at construction, and the other half held spears and shields and bows and wore armor. And the leaders were behind all the house of Judah. Those who built the wall and those who carried burdens loaded themselves, so that with one hand they worked at construction, and the other they would held a weapon. Mercy. Every one of the builders had his sword girded at his side as he built. And the one who sounded the trumpet was beside me. So what you think about this?
Right. So that's the point I'm making. So now obviously we being in the year 2024, we have New Testament and Old Testament. And I see a group of people who was minding their own business. They're trying to build their wall.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Some bullies come by, start trying to kill people to stop them from building their wall. It's not like the Jews were stealing stones from other nations to build this wall.
No,
you understand?
Minding their own business.
Minding their own business. It ain't like the wall was built on your property line. So like, well, you can't build this wall, but it's in my yard. We was in our own land, minding our own business, and y'all could have did the same. You know what I mean? But y'all take it upon y'all to attack us, right? Now, there are times in the Bible where you see someone have faith and wait on God, right? There are also times in the Bible where you see someone just go. They pray to God and they go. I give you a prime example. Jonathan in the book of 1 Samuel, when the Philistines, this is right after Saul had became king, when the Philistines, they were at war with the Philistines. Jonathan and his father were for context, Jonathan was the prince of all of Israel. His father was Saul, king of all of Israel. Him and his father were the only two that had weapons. He had a spear, his father had a spear. No one else in all of Israel had a weapon because the Philistines had killed all the blacksmiths. And now they had war, bro. Just hand to fist and rock and 2x4 and thing. You know what I mean? Like,
but them slingshots wasn't playing, boy.
Slingshots too. We
wasn't playing, bro.
We learned what David was able to do with a slingshot.
We learned what David really do with that slingshot.
So now Jonathan, he ain't tell nobody he was going on a mission to go fight the Philistines. Jonathan say, bro, I take him my armor bearer, and if God give us this battle, when they see us, they would tell us to he basically say, if they say, come up here, I know that God is with us. Or if they say they can come down here, I know that God ain't with us. You know what I mean? Or maybe it was vice versa. But all I'm saying is he moved out on faith. He had faith that God has the power to give him victory. And it was just a matter of knowing if God was going to oblige and give him the victory or not. You see what I'm saying? But he moved out on faith. Same thing here, right? I was once of a school of thought, excuse me, to be a pacifist in all aspects. Avoid violence. That's the Christian thing to do. And that's loosely based on turning the other cheek, right? Jesus says, if someone slaps you, turn the other cheek. If someone take your coat, give them your cloak too, right? But these scenarios are talking about physical harm. Like he did not give an example to do if you are about to be killed. You see what I'm saying? Like someone slap you, we don't take that and say, oh, if someone threatening your life, this is what to do. You know what I mean? I do not believe that that is an apples to apples comparison to say how you should act in the face of life or death. You understand what I'm saying? Here it is. These people, not only were they trying to protect themselves, building a wall to protect themselves, but they were building a wall to restore their holy city as instructed by God. They had the blessing of God. Nehemiah had that before he even came here. The Lord had granted him his prayer to come and restore the wall. And so they prayed for protection. They say, Lord, take them into captivity, do all of these things, right? But while they prayed, they also work because faith without works is dead. And their work in this scenario is not just building the wall, but their work is actively trying to protect themselves. They say it get to the point where, bro, might have one hand on the spear or the sword, and the other hand got rock, the other hand got cement. You see what I'm saying? Like I working with one hand. You know what I mean? We have a trumpeter ready just to blow the trumpet whenever. We have people with bow and arrows at all time. We used to have 100% labor force. Now 50 of those are just in the army, and 50% of those are in the army. The other half working, and the half working, they still have their sword on them. You know what I mean? And so, to me, if we was to keep, remember how we used to keep like a running tab for like jewelry and alcohol. You see what I'm saying? Like if we was to keep, I don't know, bro. I wish I don't even have the time to go through. I didn't even document it for real. I was keeping a mental note. But I wish I had the time to go through all the episodes.
It's only 177.
Real talk. That's nothing. Hey, I got all type of free time on my hands next week.
Yeah. And then, I mean, you could minus out the Christmas episodes and the resurrection episodes and the other ones. But
Yeah.
buddy, that brings you down to like 160 something.
Yeah,
Anyway,
and then I
digress.
Yeah, and then I do know most of them conversations happen like during the Genesis, Deuteronomy era. But anywho, digress as you said. So if we had a tally, I would say this is one for defending yourself. You understand? Not looking for problems. You see what I'm saying? Not being a bully, but defending yourself, defending your family. You see what I'm saying? And defending the things of God in the face of adversity. But I am not saying that this is um, the only thing to do in these situations. Obviously, nuance. And then we also have other examples where someone might not do anything. Someone will be still. Someone may be still and wait on God, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. I mean, it's like using your common sense, spiritual common sense. Like, hey, we could be attacked at any minute, but we still have this wall to finish. So now we could be here building a wall knowing we about to be attacked. We already pray God to protect us, but let's just say they still attack us. And we here, should we not be? Because like we are finishing the work God gave us to do. Rather be smart about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like,
See, no, I get that, you know, but I think the action of inflicting harm on someone, even if it means to like protect yourself, is hard for everyone to swallow. You know what I mean? Let's say not everyone have a sword. Some people might have a dagger, right? But the only way to protect yourself for real, bro, you gotta stab someone. You know what I mean? Like if it's one on one. You know what I mean? And so like to the person that's like like to the person that's squeamish, you know what I mean? Or the person that's fundamentally against violence, you know, that's a hard pill to swallow, but you know.
I'd rather live and be squeamish.
Yeah. you gotta be alive to tell the story.
Yeah, I mean, and again, to your point, I know it's a nuanced argument. Some people feel a certain way about it, and I get it. It's hopefully you're never in a predicament where you have to, right?
Right.
But if you are in a predicament, if someone in front of you with a gun right now, bro, like I don't know, if someone breaking my house and I can't do nothing about it, then it's like I don't know.
Yeah.
Pray for the best. Pray for the
Yeah.
best, but prepare for the worst. That's just how I feel for it. Like to your like faith without works is dead. Like certain things you pray for, but you still got to prepare for. Like certain things you pray for, you still got to act upon. I mean, we had a whole episode at the beginning of the year talking about like how like do you believe in your prayers? And I guess it goes both ways in circumstance, but like God still calls us to act and do things, you know? And he still calls us to be like sensible.
Yeah, very true.
It's like I could be on a road at night saying, Lord, protect me because it's raining and storming. But if I go in 60 miles per hour in a storm and rain, I'd be like, bro, you ain't being smart about this. Or I could be like, yeah, God protect me, and I slow down as I drive. Like people might think it's a different scenario, but it's almost the same thing. Like I prayed for God protection, but I still did my part in helping to make sure I protect it.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
So like I don't know, man. Like how some people like I don't know. The next thing this is just a tangent. Like next thing is like people say like, oh yeah, you know, this person like oh if something happens, it's my time. No, you could cause your time to come faster than it's supposed to come. Like
but that one's so hard to prove, bro. Because I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. But to the person that believes that, it's like no way to say.
right, I'm
It's
pretty sure it's a
not your
place.
time.
I'm pretty sure it's a place in Ecclesiastes where it's like, yo, don't be stupid because you could cause your time to come fast or something like that. I mean, I'm taking it out of context. I mean, like taking it out, like paraphrasing is what I'm trying to say. But in a way, like it's yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely agree. Some people believe in predestination. Things are predestined to happen, and you have no part to play in any of it. You know, I 100% don't believe that. I mean, even when we think about Hezekiah, his time was there, bro. The prophet already tell him, bro, you are going to die. You know what I mean? Get your house in order. And he prayed unto God. And before the prophet even leave the courtyard, God tell the prophet, go back and tell him, I give you 15 more years. You see what I'm saying? So biblically, you could debunk that theory, but some people just believe time is their time. So if you say, no, if you didn't, you know, if you didn't used to, you know, smoke, you wouldn't have get lung cancer. You see what I'm saying? They might not believe that. No, I might have never smoked a day in my life and still get that. You know what I mean? So that's what some people think.
So like so in Ecclesiastes, I find so it kind of hint towards it, right? So Ecclesiastes 7:16. I know we're in a tangent. We could go back soon, but it says 7:16. Do not be over righteous, neither be over wise. Why destroy yourself? Do not be over wicked, and do not be a fool. Why die before your time?
I said, there, bro. I said that it ain't. I don't even think that's a hit. They say it.
Like,
Don't be a
don't be a
fool, bro.
fool.
Right.
Why die before your time? Like,
So you said
Solomon asking you these questions, bro.
So you saying if I was in Nehemiah them time and I ain't strap up and I say, you know, if it's my time, it's my time.
All right, then be a fool.
You would be a fool.
Bro.
Yeah, don't die before your time. I actually do like that text because it talks about not being overly righteous, bro. That's one that a lot of people don't I don't think they take seriously. You know, you could be over righteous. And it ain't mean that you being over righteous mean you overdoing it for the sake of righteousness. That's how I interpret over righteous. You know what I mean? Like, because if you're trying to get closer to God, like let's say we have righteousness on a scale of 1 to 100. Let's say you 45 right now, right? You trying to get closer to God, But within that 45, you could be doing too much. You could be pretentious. You could be trying to hold people who are at a 10 in terms of righteousness to your 45 standard. And that could be annoying. You know what I'm saying? Like you doing too much, essentially, you know?
Right?
And so, yeah, I actually really do love that text because we have a phrase that we say all the time, don't be heavily minded.
Bro, take the text right out my head. Keep going.
Yeah, I don't know that that's a text, though. I believe that's
the
yeah,
phrase. Yeah, text is.
I just wanted to be sure, bro, because
you take the phrase right out of my head. I just had it in my head just now. But
yeah,
you finish it though.
I wanted to be sure you know that wasn't a text because I might have put that back on the trivia questions when we do part 2. But yeah, they say don't be too heavily minded for no earthly good. You could be so heavily minded to the point where you ain't no good on it. You know what I mean? You don't translate to the every man because you you're speaking in a way that not everyone can relate to. You know, you're too high and mighty, you're too holy presenting.
Holier than thou.
Yep.
All right, so that was a tangent. But I mean, definitely it's the audience. Let us know your like thoughts on self-defense, on partly can someone die before their time? Your thoughts on that. Being foolish, your thoughts on that. Like let us know. Let us have this discussion. Let us have this discussion. All right. And so in verse 19, and then I said to the nobles, Nehemiah speaking, the rulers, and to the rest of the people, the work is great and extensive, and we are separated far from one another on the wall. Wherever you hear the sound of the trumpet, rally to us there. Our God will fight for us.
Amen.
So we labored in the work, and half of the man held spears from daybreak until the stars appeared. At the same time, I also said to the people, let each man and his servant stay at night in Jerusalem, that they may be our guard at night and a working party by day. So neither I, my brethren, my servants, nor the man of guard who followed me took off our clothes, except that everyone took them off for washing. That's the end of Nehemiah chapter 4.
Amen. So yeah, they they had their weapons. They was prepared, and you know they were convinced in their mind that when it's time to fight, you know God could do the fighting straight like that. You know.
Yeah, I mean it's just interesting. Just picturing the scene now. Like someone man, everyone was working. Now these people come up against us, they conspiring, which is also interesting too, right? Because we see God work by just even letting the plan be revealed, because now they ain't even really attacking this chapter. You know what I'm saying? This is the plan, but now that everyone was prepared, we had 100% of people working out. Half of y'all going to be just soldiers, and then everybody else, y'all gonna be ready, but y'all still gonna work. But it's almost like you went. It's almost like you went from 100% down to 25%. Because even the people who working now, they ain't even using the two of their hands, bro. I got a spear in this hand or a sword in this next hand. I like to your point. I around here trying to do the rest of the work with one hand. All right, put a block, grab some mortar, put it there. All right, grab an X block, put there. Grab some more mortar, put there. Like, man, it's just such an interesting imagery. But what I do like is they didn't stop working. You know, like, because we see the other times, it's Zerubbabel, they got discouraged. You know, this would have been enough to get them discouraged and just stop working altogether. But they say, you know what, we have a job to do. God's with us. We're going to protect ourselves. We know God going to fight for us. We're going to be prepared, but we ain't going to stop working. Because if we stop working, the enemy wins. Their whole purpose is to help us to build this wall. So why should we let them win? You know, why should we be fearful? If we truly know we are doing the work of the Lord, why should we stop? You know what I'm saying? So I actually really respect that they didn't stop and they kept on going in the face of war. You know what I'm saying? And usually the people who defend and have the upper advantage because you defend them, but we know we in a weaker position because our wall ain't even up the standards. Y'all know where the breaks in our wall. Y'all know where to focus y'all attacks on. So we quite literally at a disadvantage because right now half our people are actually still working.
Wait, didn't he say the wall was like 5 feet high? You know what I mean? Like, you on your horse, bro. You can see right over the wall, bro.
Like it ain't nothing to talk about yet. We just starting. You know, these people over here complaining, but there's too much rubbish in the way for them even to build a section of the wall. I'm like, how y'all ain't move the rubbish first? Like who does that? Like,
yeah, bro. Like, and then at the same time, you know, it wasn't a bunch of contractors and masons building the wall, bro. You see what I'm saying? We doing what we can do. You know,
your everyday citizen out here just trying to work.
Right, you had your everyman out there, bro. Like, so.
But yeah, man, it's really powerful that they didn't stop. They kept the faith. They kept trusting in God. They kept going. They did what they have to do, and we see God rewarded them. Like God was on their side. They
didn't say 5 feet high. They say half its height. That's where I was just thinking about half and 5. You know, 0.5.
So what is half?
I don't know. It just depends on how tall it was gonna be. But you know, if it's half and it's 10 and it's 20 feet high, you know what I'm saying? And It's pretty good. But um, yeah. So at the end of the day, they put themselves in position, See, and then the thing about Zerubbabel was Zerubbabel, their efforts were frustrated, but the enemies of the Jews, like the Samaritans, etc., they came with credences or decrees from the king, you know. So like they Zerubbabel, they had the law telling them to stop working, Like they try to fight you, they try to sneak to keep it going, you know what I mean? But eventually the king was on the side of the enemies and not the side of the Jews. So but this time they like, wait, we can fight about it. You know what I mean? We will fight about it. See, my speculation is that Zerubbabel ain't not the type of rank or the type of respect. I'm only joking behind you, but the type of rank or respect that Nehemiah would have had as the cupbearer. And then again, Zerubbabel had to deal with a new king that come about. So the first king give them the go, and then when the second king come about, that's when the enemies of the Jews is like, bro, look through the records, bro. This a wicked nation, bro. They rebellious, all type of thing. But fact of the matter is, now we have Nehemiah, who led people to build a wall, and he to the point where, bro, ain't nothing stopping me from building this wall. But I done was fasting. I done was mourning for months. The king give me the okay. God give me the okay. We doing this. While the Jews are hard at work rebuilding their wall, their enemies are working behind the scenes to plan an ambush. But while they defend themselves against one enemy, they now encounter a new enemy, themselves. But we'll talk more about that on the next episode of A Breath of Fresh Air. Tonight's episode included voice acting by your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz K. Remember to go ahead and research on your own in order to get a more firm understanding of tonight's episode. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. You can follow us on social media at A Breath of Fresh Air Pod on Instagram and BOFAPOD on Twitter. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next week.